This box has got snow woods coming up in it. They're ready to pot up now. I just haven't got them done. But from potting up, it'll be approximately 6 months before they're planted out into the bush, mixed with other trees. It won't be just a forest of snow woods. These are sandpaper figs and deep yellowwoods in there. I've forgotten what's in here because I'll just see when they come up what they are. Over here was tulip woods, which is all. There's only one left. The rest are fig trees that's left there. There's dozens of different seeds. They're not all the same seeds in one box. There's a variety of seeds in here. There might be half a box of one type, and some of these take a year to come up. Some take 5 years. But a lot of them come up in 6 months, whatever. But it's starting to get cool now, so I'm not going to get very many come up before next spring. Then there'll be heaps. But I've got heaps in my bush house anyway that are already up to keep me going till then. This box here has got fire wheels in it that are coming up nicely. And then we go along. Well, the mixture. It'll take me half a day to tell you what they all are. But there's these two boxes, for instance, are ready to plant. They'll be done in the next week, I should imagine, when short. And over here we've got something that's quite unique here. These are resurrection ferns. They've never been spotted south of Brisbane before, plenty north of Brisbane, but my bush has got quite a few of them in it, and they're really unique things, so something I'm very proud of because they're so rare around here. But here are tulip woods, which I was talking about a moment ago, about the seed boxes, and that's where they came from actually. But like, there's another mixture of, see, all sorts of things in there. Teak, yellowwood. These are rare here too. They're a senna. They're only known south of Port Macquarie actually, but there's some here, which is pretty good too. Here we've got fire wheels. They've advanced a bit from the ones, but that's where they've come from. Not only that box, there's other boxes of them. Over there we've got flame trees, which had a really good year this year. They don't every year. And blue figs, silky oaks, there, more tulip woods, more, oh that's got stacks of little fire wheels in that box. Here we have silky oaks, aristolochias, another box here that is ready to be planted out this week, or the week coming, and all sorts of things. Look at fig trees over there. Should have been planted out before this, but I've got too many of them. So I'll get to them one day. Another box here that's ready to plant. So I've got something to do this week, that's for sure. In here we've got a mixture of all sorts of things too. Some seed boxes too, because they didn't all fit in the little bush house that I've got my seed boxes in. So there's quite a few of them in here too. But they're a mixture of everything, which is what I want. So that I've got a mixture in the bush to make it look as natural as I possibly can. We've arrived now at my wildlife refuge where I spend a very big part of my time. I've had this for about 20 years, and when I first came back to live on my home farm where I was born, I knew about this place because I'd come over here with my father shooting turkeys actually. He used to bring one bullet. You could guarantee he'd bring home one turkey on Sunday now and then. Anyway, when I came back here to live, I liked it that much. I thought, oh, I'll get in touch with the fellow who owned it now and see if he would sell the rainforest to me. And when I did, he said, no way, I love that rainforest, I'm not selling that. But by luck, he got old before I did, and 17 years later he rang me up and said, you still interested in that rainforest? I said, sure thing. He said, well, get on your horse, come over, we'll ride around and we'll settle on a price. And that's what we did, and that's how I got this. Now this is in 2 blocks. The second block at the other end where we'll go, where I'm planting at the present time, that was another funny story, but I might tell that when we get there. This rainforest is most renowned for the Oenia trees that grow here. I've got the most recorded of all the others put together, I guess. I've also got the biggest that was recorded by Alex Floyd, and Alex knows what he's talking about, so I'm pretty proud of that. Oenias became really rare because in the old days they cut them virtually all out, they were decimated, and that's because their timber was so good. It's just like red cedar, and the common name was onion cedar because they smell like their leaves, their bark, the whole lot smells like onions. And the loggers used to get the logs, put them in the creek for 2 months, and that took the smell out. Then they'd sell them to England for red cedar. This rainforest was logged in 1906 and then locked up. It was to be logged again in 2000, but by the grace of luck I bought it before that. At the top of the mountain that's never been logged at all, there's beautiful big hoop pines and teak and stuff up there, other trees too, which would have been logged if they'd have been down here. But with the greatest of luck, it's kept preserved. Arrived now at the main big rainforest. This is where I first started planting actually. Where we are was all big lantana, and this road wasn't here. The other road was over further to the right and very eroded. So well, I'll just put a road through the lantana. What I did was all nice bare dirt. I should plant trees there. So that's why I started here in the first place. This area on our left is the second place that I planted. It was big lantana, but because of a lightning strike or something, it caught on fire and killed the rainforest. There was no road here, so I cleared it and planted the trees. It goes up onto a ledge a fair way up the hill there. And now when I take people past, they don't realise this is a planted area unless I mention it, and that's very rewarding to me. It means that everything's working. It's blended into the rainforest. On our right, these trees right beside me and along this ridge, they're right through it occasionally, but here's a good patch. This is the only recording of these trees in New South Wales. They're in Queensland in a dry rainforest, but it's just unusual that they're here. They are Citriobatus linearis. The trees here were planted because that was some sort of, might have been lightning strike. It was all lantana and vines. So I eventually cleaned that up and planted with trees about 8 months ago, something like that. This rainforest is classified as dry rainforest. However, this area, because it's at the base of the mountain, because of the gully here, there's lots of subtropical species here as well, so it's a bit of a mixture. So that makes it all the more interesting as well, because dry rainforest is traditionally very viney. Here there's very few vines, and just for that reason. This is my biggest vine, my thickest vine that I've got in the whole rainforest. It's a water vine, and I think it's a really special one because I don't see much bigger in the big rainforests than this one. We're now on the southeastern portion of the property. I bought it in 2 lots. That wasn't the total rainforest. However, the fella that owned the other end, he got into a bit of strife financially and asked me would I like to buy the rest of the rainforest, and I did, not because I was greedy, but because I wanted to protect the whole block, and that's what I've done. It's protected in perpetuity, actually. Rainforest is extremely important for what it does for oxygen, what it does to stop erosion, all the little birds and animals that it harbours and protects. I just love rainforest. I know eucalypt forest is important too, but rainforest is my priority. I've got a fair bit of eucalypt forest as well. It's slowly turning to rainforest understory, particularly when we pulled the lantana out from under there. And I get told, well, you should burn it. It's too late to burn. There's too much fuel underneath. It would kill all the little rainforest trees that are coming, which are many, many thousands. So I'm really happy it's turned to rainforest. Fire is my biggest worry, that a fire could undo decades of my work now, but I go to a fair bit of trouble to keep fire out. This little darling is one of my biggest red cedars. Obviously they would have been bigger in the old days, but the cedar cutters would have went through here and cut them all out. Now I've got lots of smaller ones, and then I've got thousands of little ones that are coming up of their own accord. I don't plant any myself because they'll be in the open, and any that are out in the open, the titmoth gets them and disfigures them and they're totally wrecked. However, if you plant them underneath trees, in amongst trees, they grow properly and well and grow tall and nice trees. We need to protect the forests here because of the little animals that live there, the birds that live there. For our own health and welfare, we need to walk in trees, we need to look at trees, we need the oxygen that they're making as well. But the beauty of our northern rivers is greatly enhanced by rainforest. If we didn't have rainforest, it'd be just any old place. So to me, it's extremely beautiful and extremely important. On this property I've planted approximately 30,000 trees, but I used to plant for Forestry Commission and for other people. I've planted pretty close around 156,000. Planting professionally is much different to planting here. Here I have to dig the hole with a mattock, put bags around them to protect them from the wallabies because I've got heaps of them here. It also protects them from the spray drift. In this situation here, it's fairly easy to plant a tree fairly quick. Putting the bags on, carrying the stakes, banging them in, that takes more time than it does to plant the tree. But then it comes to taking the bags off and collecting up the stakes and moving on to the next tree. That's where it becomes hard and monotonous, because by that time I've planted over my roads, my tracks that I use to get around for when I am planting, and there's a lot of carrying done. That's the hard bit and the slow bit. The trees here are all rainforest trees. It's a mixture. I mix them up as much as I can for whatever I've got to plant. Right behind the camera there's a blue fig. One I've just planted here is a Harpullia pendula. If I look into these, let's have a bit of a look here. Oh yeah, that's a deep yellowwood. It's a weed in it. And here we have a Bangalow palm. Here we have a blue quandong, one of our very fastest rainforest growing trees. Here's a yellowwood or longjack. Here we have a white beech, one of my most favourite trees. And on the ground here is a natural regeneration, little silky oak tree. 3-vein laurel. Tulip wood. There's a lace flower tree, one of the most beautiful rainforest trees that you can get ever. I find I have to look after trees for 7 years. I didn't think it would be that when I first started, but that's what it turns out to be. I do my spraying with the knapsack or a high pressure spray on the back of the tractor with a 44-gallon drum. I have to do it because here is ex-rainforest soil, and the weeds grow extremely fast. Trees grow fast too, but the weeds grow faster. The previous owner of this second section that I bought bulldozed this area, the rainforest, and aerially seeded it with grass seed, but didn't follow up at all. Then it went to lantana and crofton weed instead of what had been originally nice rainforest. Anyway, when I bought it, I cleared that lantana and let it go back to grass because I couldn't plant trees that quick or I'd have the same weed problem. Now that area is 66 acres of cleared area. I think another 2 years I'll have that 66 acres planted out if everything goes good, and then it'll be all rainforest this side of the farm. Then I can go back to the northern side where I was before I started on this side and continue planting over there. I collect almost all my seeds from here because I have such a good seed source and so many trees. I can't grow in my conditions enough trees. I have to buy some in, but almost, well, the vast majority I grow myself from seeds. So it's really nice to see trees that I have planted producing seeds for me to plant for the next generation. In this area, which is about 3 years old since I planted these trees, it was dry then, quite a few died, so that's why you'll see here bags. They're only planted a few months ago, or replanted ones that died. I've got areas, some areas I've had to plant, not here but other places, 4 times till I've got a real success. This is an area that was planted and goes up on another ledge, but red cedars had their big seeding year 2 years ago, and they've come up here by the thousands. Many thousands actually. I'm not worried about that, nothing wrong with them. They can't possibly all survive, but some will, and most will die in the long run. But anyway, let's stop the weeds growing. This is an area that was planted 5 or 5.5 years ago. There's harpullia trees. We looked at little ones up the top of that. The fig tree. There's another cryptocarya there. Also, all I have to do here now, I think, is spray here one more time. There's only a little bit to spray, but it needs to be done. There's crofton weed through it and a few other things. So I just need to go through one more time, I think, and that's it. It's looking after itself. Quite a few of these trees flower now. Flame trees, silky oaks, and a few other things too. They're flowering and producing seed. Little ones are starting to come up from the trees that I've planted here. So the cycle has gone full circle. That's really rewarding when that does. I'm getting rid of the lantana because it is a perfect home for bellbirds, which have mushroomed here and caused a lot of damage here, much more in other places. I've just pretty well got rid of bellbirds now, but lantana is extremely flammable. Around about Christmas time it loses its leaves in hot weather, and we're going to get plenty of that in the future. So it's one part of getting rid of the fire hazard, and it's much nicer looking at a patch of rainforest that I plant than it is to look at lantana. This area, without a doubt, is extremely important, and it's a big worry to me when I'm not here what's going to happen to it. So I've got an agreement with the National Park as protected in perpetuity. That I hope holds it. Someone else takes over with family or somebody else owns it, they can't destroy it. It's protected as best I can do, and so that gives me some peace of mind. We've just driven through an area that was planted about 5.5 years ago into where I'm going to start planting next. This was slashed and sprayed a bit over a week ago, and this is where I'll be starting next week. Actually, I've already got my stakes down here, bags down here ready to get started. So then I've got to go from here up to where we were and meet. That's what I said earlier on will take me about 2 years. To me, this rainforest is my life. It's my contribution to the world.